Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, your guy, Mr. David Iloma, and for today we'll continue with our analysis of the scriptures. For today we'll continue from chapter 7 of the book of Genesis. In the past we've been analyzing from chapter 1 up to chapter 6. But today we'll continue in this interesting book of Genesis. The chapter 7, like we normally do, we'll be reading from the King James Version of the Holy Scriptures. And I will read the verses all the verses as much as I can, but I might decide to skip some verses that are not that will not require any explanation. So please join me in this discourse as I proceed. Verse 1 of Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Now, this verse 1 shows or is a pointer to the fact that there will always be people that will be loyal and committed to worship God. It doesn't matter how evil the world is or how degenerated the world has become, there will always be people that would commit their lives or that will dedicate their lives to obey God and to serve Him. So this should tell us that we should try and strive as much as we can to do the will of God. Because if we don't, it doesn't change anything about God. It doesn't remove anything from Him. Rather, it's in our own interest or best interest that we should be seen as righteous before Him in our own generation. We should be seen as being humane, as being good in our own generation. So that is what I want us to take home with from this verse 1. I proceed. Verse 2 now. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. Now, God, speaking to Noah, made it clear that he was about to destroy the earth, destroy everything living in the earth as at that time. In verse 5, we'll continue. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. So Noah did not doubt God. So also we should not doubt God. Even when there are no evidence of the fact that what God says is going to happen, we should just believe Him. We should just have faith in Him that whatever He says is going to happen. Or all the promises in the scriptures that He has made, we fulfill in our lives. We may not see any evidence, but that doesn't mean that these things will not happen. Because as at that time when this instruction was being given to Noah, it has not actually rained. So it was like, is this going to, how is it going to happen? There was no precedent as at that time that it has been raining. No, it has not rained as at that time. But Noah believed and did according to all that God commanded him. Verse 6. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Now we can see here that Noah was able to, he ensured that he did not just enter that ark alone. He made efforts. He was in charge of his household. He saw he saw to it that his wife, his sons, and their own, and his daughters-in-laws, his daughters-in-law, were all in that ark. He carried them along, just like Joshua said, that as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So this is telling us that as a man or as a woman, make efforts to see that your partner, your children, are doing the will of God. Encourage them, not by coercion or by force, but persuade them and convince them with your good behavior, with the words from the scriptures, for them to see the need to join you to do the will of God. So that at the end of the day, though salvation is a personal race, but it will be selfish for one not to make effort to ensure that him and his family, him and the members of his family are all involved, are saved together. That is what Noah did. That was very commendable. So, verse 8, verse 9 talked about how the animals, went in with Noah into the ark. Now I'll read verse 10. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. In the self-same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. Verse 16. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. So it was God that shut Noah in, and his family, his household, and all the animals. And they went in male and female, the way it has been from creation, man and woman. So it's not man and woman, as is becoming common these days, in terms of what people define as marriage or relationship, which is quite absurd. So they went in male and female, and God shut him in. At this point, there was no redemption for those that did not enter in. So that is telling us that there is time for everything. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore it is set in the hearts of men to do evil. Some scholars will say life has continued like that forever, and just like in the days of St. Peter in 2 Peter chapter 2, they were saying it, and chapter 3, that where is the promise that we are saying that this world will come to an end? Life has continued like that. They will begin to scorn. But God is He's being kind, His merciful kindness. He's been giving grace for people to see if they will, make a U-turn and serve Him. A time will come when His grace will expire, and He will shut. There will be no preaching. There will be no convincing anymore. There will be no gospel news anymore. And that time is fast approaching, where the door will be shut for repentance. We continue. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. Verse 18. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. In verse 21, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl, and of cattle, and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. Verse 23. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So it was only Noah, just like St. Peter talked about in 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. Noah, he described him as a preacher of righteousness. Him and his family of 8. That is his wife, his 3 sons, that is 5, and the wives of his 3 sons, making them 8 as a whole. No, they were the ones that remained alive. And while every other creature, creeping things, human beings, fowls, that were outside the ark, that were not within the ark, they all died. You can imagine the number, the thousands. Earlier, they did not believe. They thought that Noah was joking when he was preaching to them, like I quoted earlier, that water will come. But in this age of the end of the world, it will not come with water anymore, because God has already promised that he will not use water to destroy the world anymore. But in 2 Peter chapter 3, from verses 5 down to verse 10, it is made clear that this present world most likely will be destroyed with fire, with burning heats, like with heat or with fire. Not the earth per se will be destroyed, but the evil system of the world, the evil men and women in this world will be burned up, will be destroyed with fire. They will cease to exist. They will be destroyed with everlasting destruction. So we living at this age of the end of the world should have it at the back of our minds that evil will not continue forever. Iniquity has an end. God is definitely going to bring the evil system of this world to an end, and he will recreate this earth the way he has always wanted it to be, like the Garden of Eden, where righteous men and women will dwell here on earth forever and ever. That has always been his plan from time. Go back to Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2. God has always, the earth will remain forever. Seed time and harvest, this earth will remain forever. And his plan is to restore this earth even better than the Garden of Eden. And it's only those that are doing his will that keeps to the golden rule, doing to others what you love them to do unto you, being just and being kind to others. Such ones are the ones that will be privileged to be in that restored Garden of Eden by God's grace and power. So my dear viewers, I believe that you must have learned one or two things from this video and this chapter we have analyzed. I encourage you to like and sub this channel, and also to comment and to click the notification bell if you're just subscribing, and if you are if you are one of my returning subscribers, endeavor to share this video. And even you're watching it for the first time, like, sub, and share this video, and engage me in the comment section. If you have any alternative view, or you have something to add to what have been said in this book of Genesis chapter 7, I'm glad that you've been there all this while. May God continue to keep us, to bless us, and to give us all our heart desires that are in accordance to his will, and also to fulfill his rich promises in our lives, including wealth and abundance, prosperity and healing, and all good things of life. And at the end, for us to be privileged to inherit his kingdom when fully established. So I thank you for being there. Thank you, and see you in our next edition by the grace of God. Bye.